Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a great week. We have seen the US dollar continue to push up higher and higher. How far will it go? That's what we're going to be looking at in this week's outlook. If you've watched last week's video, you will see that most of the analysis was just based on the direction of the dollar index, and that is how we focus our weekly outlooks. That US dollar gives us direction as to how the rest of the market is going to play out. And that's exactly what we're going to look at in this week as well. We're going to start with the recap of how we looked at the market in the last week, how the market played out, and then we're going to see what the outlook for the new week is. All right, so let's get right into it. Before we get started, if you'd like to contact us, if you can go to our YouTube channel, Trading Waves, you will find our contact details and you'll find also our content. This is last week's video. You will see under the description of all the videos, there are contact details. That is the email address you can use to contact us, as well as the mobile numbers that you can use to contact us. So there they are. And then there's a Telegram channel, as well as the two social media links, that is to Twitter as well as Facebook. There is a link to our website. Our website is what I have open right now, and that is where you can purchase the course if you like to join us. Right, so our next course is going to be in November. That is the last course for the year. So you can still take advantage of that and buy the course well in advance. That helps you to get access to the course before we have the live one in November. Then you can only just engage and ask questions when we have a live 10-day course in November. Right, so that is that. Let's get right into it. Let's get into the analysis and the outlook for the week. But first, as I said, we start with the recap of how we analyzed the market in the last week. So let's start. Okay, I've already opened the links from our Slack channels here on the outlook page. So let's go right into it. I'm going to go to the outlook page. Let's go. So we'll start with the euro US dollar. If you remember last week, we've only been saying, and this is actually a chart that is this was our chart of the week. It has been posted on our website. Let's just go through it quickly. So I get my annotation tool ready there. So if you remember last week, we were looking at the euro like this. If you go watch that video from the last week, we were looking at this to be making a W with these three waves here, the three waves here, and the three waves over here. We're anticipating that it was going to reverse from here. Subsequent to that analysis in the week, we went and the chart or the price went and pushed into the blue box. It was still within the blue box. That's why when it got to the blue box, we updated our members that they can still sell this pair. Subsequent to that, we know now that the euro has now dropped from the blue box and is somewhere around this area making these corrections. Let's just go through how it has played out. So that is the euro, and this is how it has played out subsequent to that. So we've got 200 pips playing out in just the last week on the euro with this analysis, which we detailed in the video last week, and we have put this as our chart of the week. So if I can just go to our chart of the week, let me go back to our chart of the week here. Right, so our chart of the week, you can access it on our website. This is the chart of the week. It is for free. Anybody can have this chart. If you had visited our website, you would have gotten this chart. So let's have a look at how we forecasted that. So I just want you to see that this was forecasted like that. So this was posted last Sunday. Okay. We know that this price went and did this. It was just in the blue box, so went into the blue box and then started dropping as expected. So if you'd watched that, you should have made some money on the chart of the week, euro US dollar. Now, what is the outlook going forward? So the outlook for the euro going forward is that we are anticipating that we're going to have a bit of corrective structure here and continuation to the downside. I'll show that when we start with the market analysis shortly. Now, the next one was pound US dollar, going with the theme of the US dollar continuing to push to the upside. We knew that as much as this was making this pullback, the dollar index was going to continue pushing to the upside. So we expected that this was going to continue with a drop. So this would have been just a corrective structure, a continuation pattern for downside. Right, so that was pound US dollar. As you can see, pound US dollar has dropped 380 pips. This is just last week alone. If you remember, this is what we focused at, and then we got that 380 pips on pound. US dollar CAD was a bit tricky. So the market last week was not as clear, was not that clear, but we stuck to our strategies. So that's what we always do. We stick to the strategy and trust the process. So this is what we have here. We were looking for this one to start pushing to the upside last week. And if you look at this looks like an impulsive move, and it looks like it was going to continue to the downside. But because the dollar index was pushing up higher, we expected US dollar CAD, because it is correlated to the dollar index, to continue pushing to the upside. Okay, so what happened after that? Indeed, we got the US dollar pushing to the upside, 356 pips, and we're still anticipating that we may still have a bit of a move to the upside. I'll show this shortly with the focus for the coming week. All right, now also, this is AUD US dollar. Obviously, if you're expecting euro, the pound, and US dollar CAD to be, or rather, if you're expecting the US dollar to be strong, you'll expect that Audi will come down like that. So that was the expectation. Any pullback, we anticipated that it should come to the downside, no matter how impulsive it looked, like no matter how good the move to the upside looked. We anticipated that it was going to drop, and indeed, we can see 246 pips on Australian dollar, US dollar. Right, New Zealand US dollar, no brainer. It is a pullback. We expect that it will continue to the downside correlated to Audi. That is what you've got, 221 pips, and this is in just last week. You can do the math and calculate how many pips those were on the US dollar. Now, you will not expect the dollar index to be strong and expect gold to continue pushing to the upside. So that's why when this happened, we anticipated that gold may just slightly push to around that level, but should still drop. So that was the expectation, and this is what we got. We had that 881 points. So that is from 1735 to 1674. That's a $50 drop, or a $60 drop from this level here on gold. All right, so Chief Yen. So this was not from last week. If you look at this chart, this was from the 31st of August. So from the beginning of the month, we were looking for this one to make a continuation to the upside. Now, if you look at Chief and how it has played out, it has played out inch perfect with a 950 pips move. So the move on Chief was 950 pips. Look at this. So this is where we focused. This is where we got the Chief, was anticipating that it was going to make those 5 waves. So we got the third wave there. So let me just get this one. Right? We got the third wave. We were looking for that. That's what we were looking for, the third wave, for the Chief to continue pushing to the upside. I will detail as what we're expecting going forward into the new week. So that is 921 pips from the 1st of August to date. All right, so that is what we had there. So very nice one here. Before, as you can see, we're looking for wave 5 and place out inch perfect. Textbook stuff there. All right, next one was a pound US dollar. This was also posted the first month of August. So this one has been a slow one because, I've shown this one a couple of times. When this was coming into the blue box here, we anticipated that it was going to continue pushing to the upside. We went 1, 2, 3. We went to the blue box, and from here, we started buying euro pound, and we wanted it to continue pushing to the upside. But when it came down here again, we saw that it was actually making an 11 swing sequence. That is a W, X, Y, X, Z. So that's why we went into that level, and then we were looking for this one to continue pushing to the upside. So from the blue box, we have already pushed up around 445 pips on a euro pound. A bit slow for considering that this has been a 6-week move. But if you trade swing, this is how you trade. You trade and you forget about it, and this is how it has eventually played out. Now, what is the outlook going forward? We're still anticipating that the US dollar will continue to push to the upside. Let's have a look at the dollar index. Now, I'm going to look at this on the 4-hour. I think the 4-hour will be the clearest chart that we're going to be looking at. Now, if you look at the 4-hour chart on the dollar index, you'll see that we had this impulse. So this is where we were last week. We anticipated that this was going to continue pushing to the upside. We have made that push to the upside. We are making this corrective structure. So I'm anticipating that we're going to have a bit of a corrective structure here. We're going to have this one coming down slightly and continuing to the upside. Let's put this on the 1-hour. Now, on the 1-hour, we'll be anticipating a trade here. So if it looks like on the 1-hour, we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Can we have a 3, breaks the low and a push to the upside? Then we'd have gotten this one as an expanding flat, which would be a W, X, Y structure. So we are still anticipating that we're going to have a move to the upside on the dollar index. That paves the way for the rest of the analysis for this week, Euro US dollar as well. So we're going to expect that the Euro US dollar will also make a continuation pattern here, which is what is happening here. So you can see here we've got 3 waves up, we've got 3 waves down. It looks like we're going to make 3 waves to the upside. Is this 3 waves completed, or we're still going to see, or are these 3 waves completed, or are we still going to see this one, or rather this one drop like this? So let's just see the internal structure on this. 1, 2, let's use a different color there. Let's use yellow. The internal structure is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's either that or this. Okay, 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there. So I want to show you the 2 options there. So you could have this 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to continue the drop from there. But there's also a possibility that this is only the first wave. Let me clear. Possibility that this is only the first wave. 1, 2, 3, and then we drop. So there is a very high possibility that we can see one more up before we drop. So don't just go and quickly sell. You need to have an entry strategy for that, okay? And those that have sold at the top, congratulations. You should just hold. You shouldn't worry about this. With this, we should continue to the downside, anticipating that the DXY will continue pushing to the upside. Pound US dollar. We have seen a bit of a pullback on pound US dollar, and we're still anticipating the same thing. Remember, this is where the forecast was for last week, that from here we should see pound dropping, and we'll be anticipating that we're going to have at least a corrective structure. So even if you see pound doing this, we should be continuing to the downside. We'll expect that we'll see continuation to the downside as far as pound is concerned. US dollar CAD also making what looks like a corrective structure at the top here. We'll be anticipating that this will continue to push to the upside. Let me go back to the 4-hour so you can at least have some perspective of the bigger chart as well. All right, so this is where we are with US dollar CAD. So last week we forecasted that this was going to push to the upside from here. As you've seen with the market recap, we'll be looking for this one to continue pushing up higher from that level. US dollar CHF, similarly, we anticipate that it will also continue to push to the upside. It's making what looks like a 3-wave structure. Last week it was here as well. It looks like it was set for a move to the downside, but we understand that the DXY should set the path, and this follows the DXY. So we're anticipating that this will at least come back to around this level here. Okay, so this is US dollar CHF. AUD US dollar. All right, so AUD US dollar, we've already seen this one during recap. So we're here, we got the pullback. So anything here, we'll anticipate that this should continue to the downside on the AUD US dollar. Okay, so we're anticipating that this will continue to the downside in New Zealand US dollar. We should see the same thing as well. Last week, or rather at market close, we ended with this last candle doing that, but that is hardly any convincing. So anything as a pullback, we'll anticipate that this should just continue to the downside. And that is the theme for the US dollar pairs. We're anticipating dollar index strength, and we're anticipating that anything that's paired against the US dollar should continue to the downside. Right, US dollar ZAR, we will see this continue to the upside. You can have this one as a pullback and a continuation to the upside. If I put it on the 1 hour, just to get a bit more detail. So just be patient with this. If you're not entered, it's not safe to enter these levels as we've already had moves, but we're getting some nice pullbacks on US dollar ZAR as well. This is 3 down. We can get 3 up here. You can get 1 more down and then upside, giving you a nice ABC corrective structure here. So wait for it to give you an opportunity. Do not rush. Remember, you need to anticipate the market. Do not chase it. Once it goes, you let it go. So that's the anticipation with the US dollar ZAR. Now, going on to the yen pairs, last week we anticipated that the yen pairs will continue to push to the upside after those moves. So let's have a look here on US dollar yen. Okay, let's start with US dollar yen. So US dollar yen looks to be making this corrective structure. Last week we were anticipating that we may even get a corrective structure like this and a move to the upside. We didn't get that, but what is prevalent here is that this is still a corrective structure in the making. We're expecting that it could have this move here. We can have this one coming down here. Then that will be a nice ABC corrective structure here. ABC. we get to this level and we see US dollar yen continue pushing to the upside. So we'll be monitoring that going into the new week. As for the rest, they are all pulling back. So US dollar pound yen has made a pulsing move to the downside. Looks like it has gone down in 3 waves. We will anticipate at least a pullback like that before continuation to the upside. So let's see if it's going to give an opportunity for a continuation to the downside. Euro yen. Now looking at Euro yen. So Euro yen has made a move to the downside. As you can see here, we've got this here. Looks like we can have something like this with the euro, another move down, and then a continuation to the upside. So we'll be watching this. You can have this one as an ABC corrective structure and a continuation to the upside. So that's what we're going to be looking at with the euro. So still in the making. Let's give it a bit more time. Right, let's have a look at the rest. Chief yen, you already saw this one during market recap. Last week, we were anticipating that this will then continue from the level. Remember, after the 900 pips, we're anticipating that around this level, we are going to see continuation to the upside. But as you can see, we are still building this corrective structure. It is still in the making. It's also an ABC corrective structure, a simple ABC corrective structure, which we're going to anticipate a continuation to the upside. We may even have a blue box set up here for a continuation to the upside on Chief yen. So let's keep an eye on it going into the new week. All right, New Zealand yen. Okay, let me go to the 4-hour. Now, New Zealand yen, let me go to the daily even. There's a structure that is possible here on New Zealand yen in the long term. If you look at this on New Zealand yen, it may even do this. This is contrary to what the structures of the rest of the yen pairs is playing out as. So you could have New Zealand yen, this is on the daily, coming down around this level before making this continuation to the upside. So that will be making this a flat correction, which would be an A, a B, and a C corrective structure here. Let's show this one in yellow. 1, 2, 3. Then we come down. So we'll be monitoring this one here for a continuation to the downside. Now, this is quite a big, it's not a small move, because we are on the daily. If you look at this, that is about 620 pips. So let's monitor that. Let's watch it and see how it's going to play out. Okay, so let's go back. So that is on the daily. So let's go to the 4-hour and see what we're anticipating as a short term. In the short term, right? Right, so in the short term, so we may see this one making a corrective structure like that for a continuation to the downside. So let's watch that. If it looks like it's a pullback, if it gives an opportunity for downside, then we'll be looking to take it to the downside because we know the overall bigger structure is supposed to come to the downside. Similarly, we've got CAD yen as well. So if you look at CAD yen, it has made what looks like a 3-wave move to the upside. So in line with what you're anticipating on New Zealand yen and the rest of the yen pairs, just a pullback here before any continuation to the downside. Okay, so that is what we're going to look at. We're going to take it one move at a time on AUD yen, CAD yen. So this is AUD yen, CAD yen. So all the yen pairs have made these moves to the downside. Are they just going to push up from there? So we can get these zigzag corrective structures. So just wait and see what corrective structures the yen pairs are going to go make into the new week. Right, so let's have a look at gold as well. So gold, as you've seen, we've traded this one here. We focused that this was going to drop from here. We've got that drop. It's making what looks like a push to the upside. No, hardly convincing, hardly momentum there. We've got one single move there, which could play out as follows. So we've got a single impulse. We can have a corrective structure, a move up, and a continuation to the downside, because we're still anticipating that we can have one more down before gold reverses there. Okay. So that is gold. Silver, very interesting on silver because it looks like it's got a move, a setup for a continuation to the upside. Now, if you look at this, it has made an impulsive move, and it looks like we can have 3 or rather 5 waves there with silver. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and the 4 is playing out as this corrective structure here, and it looks like we're about to break out of that structure where we can have this one coming around this level to make that pulsing move. Only then can we start the reversal around this level on silver. Okay, let's keep an eye and see how that is going to play out. Platinum. Platinum as well has made what looks like an impulsive move to the upside, but is that the reversal or just a corrective move? So we've got already a move to the upside. This is a pullback running flat. We'll be looking for this to come around this level before continuation to the downside again. So let's keep an eye on platinum. Oil, Brent crude oil. What is the next move for oil? Let's have a look at oil. So oil has been dropping, and there's potential. I think I showed last week that there's potential for oil to visit the lows from a couple of years ago. I'll go into the detail as to which lows those were. So if you look at oil, it looks like we've got a bit of a move to the upside here, but that could just be a pullback again with a expanding flat around that level, and then we can drop like that. Now, let me just show you the weekly on oil, why I'm saying that we can visit the previous lows on oil. If the current structure, remember the current structure that we're anticipating on oil is that this is a 3-wave move, and we should see a reversal around here before any move to the downside. Okay, so if this structure does not play out and it's invalidated, oil has got this potential where it can drop from current levels and visit the previous lows as low as these levels here again. What structure will that be making? Remember, this is how the move started. So this is how the move started, and I'm just showing you here. I'm letting you in on a secret here as far as Brent crude is concerned. This is the weekly charts. Look at that. There is that possibility that oil can visit these previous lows from 2020. If you remember 2020, we went to about 19. Okay, we visited $19 per barrel on oil. All right. So that is a possibility on oil. So keep an eye in that. So we'll check this out in a couple of months. All right. Let's see how that will play out. Let's go to the pound pairs. Now the pound pairs, this is pound AUD. Let's have a look at pound AUD. Pound AUD should still continue to the downside. There's no sign of reversal there. Any pullback on pound AUD, you keep selling this. So last week gave an opportunity for another sell with this 3-wave pullback. As you can see, very, very easy stuff. This one with a WXY corrective structure with a blue box area here. So if you can see here, WXY, textbook move on pound AUD. So we'll be looking for this one to continue pushing to the downside like that. Okay, so that was really a clear setup. Right, so that is pound AUD, pound CAD. Pound CAD, just like the rest of the pound pairs, just anticipate continuation to the downside. So we're going to have this, we're going to have this one. If you see pound CAD coming to around this area, it's an opportunity for a good sell setup, because you would have here you already have what looks like a 3-wave move to the upside. It's a 3-wave pullback. If you get another 3 waves here, you'll have a textbook WXY corrective structure here for a move to the downside. So keep an eye on that one. Not just go and sell at those levels. Remember, the idea is to sell high and buy low. All right, so that's what you have on pound CAD. Pound chief, no opportunity for an entry here. This is just dropping to the downside, as you can see here. There's no opportunity for a new trade setup. The last one was here with this running flat with this 1, 2, 3. So if you've not gotten a setup there, just let this one go. It must give you at least a pullback for a continuation to the downside. So pound chief still bearish. Another textbook setup here on pound New Zealand. If you missed it from the blue box, so this would have been your blue box area here. If you missed it from here and you see this, wait for it to give you an opportunity. Do not chase it. Anticipate a pullback. If it gives you an opportunity, then you can ride on to that trend, right? So, but the idea is that we are making this ABC corrective structure, and we are still going to see more downside on pound New Zealand. Right, let's go to the euros. Euros, just like a pound CAD, is making what looks like a expanding flat. So we could be having this one as a move up, pull back, and a move to the upside. It's a nice WXY corrective structure. From current levels, we may see EURCAD starting the drop. EURAUD, the same. Let's have a look. So EURAUD can get as high as this level. So we've got this move here on EURAUD. We've got this one here. We've got this. My mouse is misbehaving. So we've got this move here on EURAUD. 1, 2, 3. We've got this 1, You can see here we had a move there, 3. So we can have this one pulling back one more up, making this bigger corrective structure for a continuation to the downside. So let's see here. Are we going to start getting a pullback or the reversal there? So we'll be watching that. Still early, so we'll just wait a bit for it to give you a little bit more data. All right, now EUROCHF. EUROCHF is pretty interesting. There are two things that can happen here. So we've got to move up, we've got to move to the downside. Will it take the top here first before it drops, or will it just continue from current levels? So this one, we wait for more data, we wait for confirmation first. So whichever one confirms first, we should be able to get that. Euro pound, you've already seen this one from the trade recaps. This one is just bullish. Any opportunity for you to buy this, take that, but it should give you a nice pullback, a clear structure here as in this size or degree. That is the Euro pound, and the last euro pair is Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand, any pullback should be an opportunity for this one to come take the top before dropping. So essentially, we are anticipating this bigger corrective structure to play out, which is going to be a WXY corrective structure for a continuation to the downside. That completes the euros, and this is now AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand seems to be making what looks like a bit of a pullback. So whatever pullback it will could make, if we retest around 1.1, we'll be looking at this as a regular flat correction for a continuation to the upside. But we can see the possibility of AUD New Zealand continuing to push up higher from current levels as well, using confirming that smaller structure there in that level. AUDCAD should continue to the downside in anticipation of in building this corrective structure here. So you can have this one here. So this one, anticipate that this can come and drop, take the low here, pullback possibility for this to drop. And in that way, we will be building a nice regular flat for a continuation to the downside. Let's keep an eye on that one. AUDCHF similarly. So AUDCHF just bearish, not really a good opportunity on this one, but you can look to just trade this one to the downside like that. But this is not a good setup. This is not a good entry level, or rather a structure. It's not big enough for you to take the trade. Right, so similarly here, I'm anticipating that we'll see continuation to the downside on New Zealand CAD as well. But like I said, that's not a good trade setup. You can see the direction, but it does not give you a nice risk to reward ratio on that. Similar to New Zealand, we can just see a pullback. CADJPY as well. You can see it's just a pulsing move to the downside. There is not really new trade setup, unless if this move is going to make a 3-wave corrective structure like that. Right, so last group of the market, of the pairs that we're going to look at here are the indices. Let's look at the S&P 500. Nothing has changed from what we're anticipating as far as the S&P 500 is concerned. So let's have a look at this. Now, we already have this as a 3-wave structure, WXY corrective structure. So there's a possibility that we get this one as a move here, a corrective structure here. So you can see here, we're anticipating there's a possibility that this can come and break the low here, bounce, and make this corrective structure. So you can have a WXY corrective structure here on the S&P 500. Is this where we're heading, or is this really the reversal where we're going to do this? So for now, we don't worry about what the bigger structure is going to be, because what we want to see is when the structure or the corrective structure is complete. If it does not complete and continues to the downside, we're going to take it one move at a time. And that move here is this one from there to break the low. Okay. Only after breaking the low will we determine whether we're going to have this bounce to around this level. If we do, we get a sell setup here with a blue box area, and then we can come to around this level. So let's keep an eye on the S&P 500, the DAX. Let's have a look at the DAX as well. So the idea this week is just for these structures here in the middle to confirm. So we can have this one here, we can have this one breaking the low here. Breaking the low, there's a possibility we come back around this level. Remember, we already have these 3 waves here on the DAX, and we could be making this structure here. We've got that one here. We could be making this one here. We'll be having that, and then we can still have. So we can still be sideways for quite a while here on the DAX. But as you can see, we need more data there's still a lot of possibilities here on the DAX. So let's see how that's going to play out. So let's wait for more data. So the next move is for this one to come and break the low here or retest that low. Right, so the Dow Jones will be similar to the S&P 500. I should have gone through this. So as you can see, there's no difference here. That's the move. That's the pullback. There's a possibility for it to break the low, bounce, and make another WXY corrective structure as well, which will be this. This is the same as I've shown on the S&P 500. We could be making this structure. But first, we need to see if we're going to break this low here. All right, so that is the Dow Jones Industrial, same as the transportation. We can go to the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is similar, but difference with the NASDAQ is that it has made 5 waves down here, has made this pullback, and can also come, and we want it to break the low here. Breaking the low here means we're still going to see more downside, regardless of whether that is going to push to the upside first, drop, and then go to the upside. But we should see further downside. So the reason why I'm looking for these pairs to break the low here is that that will confirm that we're going to get this next leg to the downside. That is the NASDAQ and the Nifty. Right, so this is the Nifty. Nifty, we've been looking at this structure. This structure has been building up from last year, 2021. If you look at that one here, you see that we've got a 3-wave corrective structure. Let me just draw it high level here. Nifty, give it a bit more view. So look at this structure. Let's do it with straight lines. That's a move 3 down, 3 up, and another 3 down. Now what we are seeing here with the Nifty is that we are looking at this to be another 3 up, and then we'll be looking for another 3 down as follows. Okay, so let's go through this with the lower degrees. So in the lower degree, you'll see that we have got 1, 2, let's do it like this. We have got 1, 2, 3 there. We've got 1, 2, 3 there. You can see that this is textbook stuff, nothing forced. You should not force any moves. If you find yourself forcing structures, then you know you're not doing it right. So have a look at this one. Impulsive move, 3 waves down and another move to the upside. So what are we anticipating here? We're anticipating that this will be another 3 waves there in the yellow degree. I should have shown this one in one leg here in the purple. So the purple should be one leg there. So let's show that. Bet. And we get this one making similar 3-wave structure as the first leg. So we'll be looking for this one to make, let's use yellow, to make this structure 3 waves down, 3 waves pull back, and another 3 waves to the downside. So that's what we'll be looking at here in this structure. All right, so we're looking for this to continue to the downside coming into the new week. And that is the Nikkei, and that is what we're expecting there. For it to complete this structure, what structure will that be? The structure would be a bigger WXY here on the Nikkei. Right, so let's see how that's going to play out. And lastly, the Nifty. Right, so the Nifty has made a 3-wave structure. So we've already seen this structure a number of times. So that is the running flat there. You can see it's a running flat because as much as this is an ABC corrective structure, the B breaks the low and the C does not break the high of the A there. So that is a 1, that is a 2, that is a 3-wave structure. And we've got now an impulse. So we can have now this to be a corrective structure before a continuation to the upside. Let's see how that's going to play out. That's all I had for you this week, guys. If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Drop your comments. We appreciate and value your inputs as well. And give us that, or rather hit that bell notification button so that you get an alert the next time we upload a video. Have a great week, everybody. Trade responsibly. Cheers. Bye-bye.